hello, welcome to another video. So today I've got my deadline of the picture hooks competition, which ends at midnight tonight. Nothing like taking it up to the wire. So I've printed out my ideas that I was doing digitally. Actually, I don't hate them digitally now I'm looking at them. I don't know, I can't decide. I'm probably going to try them analog. So when I say analog, I mean with like paints and paintbrushes and pencils. I'm going to use these to trace over. So I've got a light box that I'm going to put on my desk easel, and I'm going to use these as a guide underneath and try and make... The thing that I didn't like about these is that it felt a bit uptight and rigid. That might just have been the way I was feeling yesterday. But we'll see how I go. I'm going to spend like an hour maybe getting these. I can't decide which is better, that one or that one. Maybe this one. It's a bit more simple, a bit more direct. Yeah, so I'm going to spend maybe an hour getting these like roughed up on some paper. Then I'll see how I go. I might end up doing it digitally anyway, but you know, it is my life. So this is what I've ended up with so far. And you know what? I quite like it. There are some things I've done wrong. Well, not wrong, but I'd do differently. So I've shaded this in pencil. So I was using my new Caran d'Ache that I got the other week, the Dark Indigo Luminance. I buy these pencils sparingly because they are very expensive. I normally stick to my Polychromos pencils, which are fabulous, but I thought I'd treat myself because Jackson's Art was having a sale on Caran d'Ache stuff, and I like how creamy the Caran d'Ache are. So I buy these sparingly, and I bought this specifically as an outliner, and I really like the job that it's done. But I probably shouldn't have shaded that because it's picked up too much of the watercolour underneath, and I could have done it with a darker paint instead. But I think that's a minor thing. I think I'm only focusing on it because I have painted it. In the interests of not fussing too much, I'm going to move on to the next one. But first, obviously, I'm going to go and make a cup of tea. And also, I really need to change this water. Oh, before I do that, let me show you one thing that I'm really pleased with. One thing that I'm really pleased with in this one. So rather than, let's turn that brightness right up. Oh. So rather than just working to the dimensions of my under picture, so you can see there, can you see there? Yeah, there's a square underneath. So I've kind of worked a little bit outside of the lines, which I'm happy with because it gives me the option to kind of chop it down a little bit or like edit it into the frame, which is nice. Also, one thing that I'm really happy with is using the whole piece of paper rather than starting in like a corner. I've popped this in the middle, which means I've got all of this outside space to test my paints. So I've been testing my colours as I've used them. I've used a really, not like a super limited palette, but all of the blues are indigo blues. The grey is Payne's grey. I've added this Egremont red watercolour, which is from nearby where I grew up. It's like a real earthy tone from the Florence mine. So I've added that here, but I've mixed it with the Payne's grey that I used in the wing. The wing is a mixture between the Payne's grey and the dark indigo that I used for the background. So hopefully it all kind of marries well. But having this down here, especially because I'm using watercolour and gouache, it means that if I need to touch up, so for example, I needed to touch up one of the bits of the foot here, I just could reactivate my gouache down here. So I can use this as a tiny mini palette. It's less effective with the watercolours because there's less pigment in them. Gouache is thicker. It's designed to be more opaque, so it can be layered on top of things. Because it's thicker, you can then use any bits that you've tested down here, add water to it, as long as it's not acrylic gouache. And then you can use it as a little palette as well, so you don't need to scrabble around in drawers trying to find the yellow that you used earlier on. I'm very red here, and I don't know why. It must be my concentrating face look. I tend to always get a red patch on this side when I've been, concentrating hard on something. So, yeah, cup of tea. I'm going to ring my mum as well because it's Mother's Day when I'm filming this, so that's always nice. And I'll change my water, and then let's get going on image 2. And hopefully it's midday. This is good. This is good timing. I was giving myself until 12 to finish it, so that's good. So if I finish by the other one by 2, then I've got plenty of time to edit it and get it in by midnight, which is nice. So yeah, let's go and do those things first, and I'll be back in a second. Hang on. unfortunately my battery ran out on my phone, so you didn't get to see the end of it, but that's what I've got. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it looks like the other half of this one. So let me show you them both together. So as a pair, I think they work better. On its own, I'm not sure about that one. I like this one better on its own, but together they are a nice pair. So what I need to do now is to photograph these pieces so I can put them on the computer. I have varying results photographing with natural light and with artificial light, to be honest. People say that natural light's better, but sometimes when it's too sunny, the photographs always come out desaturated. The sun seems to like suck the light out of them and makes them really funny to edit. So overcast days for me seem to be a bit better, and today is an overcast day, so that's good. Artificial lights can sometimes cast an artificial kind of orange hue on them, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm still going to have to edit any photographs that I take of those on the computer. So let's take a bunch of photographs and just see what we get. Can I just say as well, my timing that I've given myself has been bang on today. So I entered the last picture hooks competition, which was, I think I mentioned this yesterday, or was it this morning? I can't remember. The theme was oh no, and I had to do a character before and after an oh no moment. So mine was a character carrying a cake and slipping on a banana skin. And I can honestly say that this has been so much less stressful than that one was. It's so good. Looking back, I wasn't in the right place to do the last picture hooks thing. But I did it anyway, and that has stood me in such good stead. Doing things when you're not in the comfort zone to do it, because you learn so much. You learn so much if you go into it with like an open mind. Hang on, Rolly's eating all my bits and bobs. Hey, don't eat my brushes. No, thank you. Right. If you go into it with an open mind and just do your best, it's amazing how much you do learn. And I didn't realise how much I'd learned until I come to do this one. And again, these aren't perfect. I'm not getting that kind of feeling with them. But so much better than the last one I did. So I think basically I'm saying, if you think you're ready, it's probably worth trying something else where you feel like you're not ready. If you feel like you're not ready, then give it a go, basically is what I'm saying, because I think you learn such a lot, and I can now see the difference between my previous entry and this one, and hopefully if I enter the next one, I mean, assuming I don't win, I might do, if I enter the next one, hopefully I'll have learned such a lot in the in-between times, and I'll be able to use that to mark my progress. Anyway, I'm going to edit these because I've taken some photos. I need to see which is the best. Okay, so this is what I've managed to get with editing the colours and the images. This is on a higher resolution image, which I needed to import into a 72 dpi image because that's what they required for the submission guidelines. It's fairly similar. I've lost a bit of detail, but that is to be expected on a lower resolution file. If I were more savvy with editing, I would maybe try and edit some of these marks out around the wing, but I'm not. That is just the way of it, I'm not. So I am going to, I have lost a bit of the clouds. Maybe have one more go at making this work better Well, maybe I'll just... I've got time. I'll have one more go editing it and see if I can get all of the bits as it needs to. Then I'm going to save it as... the competition requires. So the competition requires you to save as JPEG in 72 dpi in RGB with a maximum file size of 3 megabytes per file. This is going to be the tricky bit, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that. So let's just go. So you probably won't be able to tell on here. When I tried to change the document size, so if I went into document, resize document, and I tried to change it, basically it was originally 21 centimeters by 21 centimeters. When I changed it to 72 dpi, it was really pixelated. So I resized the document so the document's bigger with a lower dpi, and that seems to have kept, you probably can't tell on here, it's kept a bit of the detail. I can see the clouds in the background better, because this is what it was before. You see the clouds here were a little bit lost, and the clouds here are a bit more dense. I mean, it's marginal. I don't think anyone's really going to pick that out. It's just because I've been doing it all this time that I've noticed. So anyway, I'm happy with these. I can save them at 3 megabytes as a JPEG each, which is what I want. So I'm going to get on and submit this. So that's done. I took so long reading all of the submission guidelines, how to enter and all that stuff, just to make sure that I'd named my files right and I'd actually got the right end of the stick. So that's all done, that's in. And it's a weight off my mind. It's a little bit less rushed than it was last time as well as being a little bit of a better composed illustration. I feel like I've handled the stress a bit better. And I'm pleased, even though, I don't know, are we ever pleased with our own work 100%? There's always something that you think, oh, I could tweak that a little bit. Do people see your illustrations in the same way as you see them? I don't know. Anyway, I'm pretty certain that every time I sit down to do something with a deadline that other people are going to see, my work becomes a lot more tight and less loose and lovely than it is when I'm just doing it for me. But I think every time I do a competition, every time I do something with a deadline that other people are going to see, I get a little bit better at making it not so tight and a little bit better at loosening up and having a bit of fun with it. So I think it's good that I have done this again, and I think I will definitely be entering these in the future. And yeah, this is just a little, I just wanted to take a little time to say to you, if you think you're not good enough to enter these competitions, then you probably should be entering them. You probably should. I don't think anyone ever feels ready to do anything like that. And if you never, ever enter, you'll never, ever feel ready. I mean, I feel more ready this time because I took the leap last time and it was a little bit more familiar. The format was a bit more familiar. But, I mean, I could have noodled over these illustrations for a very, very long time. And still the illustrations didn't look that good, didn't look as good when I had them on the computer than they did in real life. So there's always something that could hold you back. But if you never enter something, you're definitely 100% not going to win it. Or get something from it. If you never enter it, if you never give it a go, you are definitely 100% not going to get anything from it. And what's the worst that can happen? This competition was free to enter. If nothing else, it was a good practice, a good way of me getting over that stress of entering something, of someone else is going to see this, of working to a deadline. So yeah, my tip for you, my take-home tip for this video is just give it a go. And if you don't feel like you're ready, then you are in very good company, because I don't know a single artist, a single illustrator who is ready. You've just got to go for it. And the more you go for it, the more you get comfortable in that discomfort. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm dead chuffed that I've done this, and thanks for joining me on the journey. But from me and Rolly, it's going to be goodbye. So I'll catch you in the next one. So until then, see ya.